Hey, welcome back to part 3 of our study this week on Mark 7. Today we're looking at verses 17 through 19. This is a shocking claim. Defilement is internal. And this really set everything, this set them off because this is not how they were thinking. They thought that, they're thinking that defilement is external. It comes from outside of you. Jesus says, nope, you guys got it all wrong. All along you've been getting it wrong. Because I told you this before, but now I'm going to have to tell you it again. So we see here in our story, in verse 17 through 19, it says, "And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable," which is just the idea that there's nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him. So that's what they're referring to as the parable, which is just a picture of a person eating a food and then they go use the washroom. And that's the story. Not usually what we think of a parable. Because, there once was a man and he did this. That's not how this one is. It's just, he's just blatantly. It seems almost, it doesn't seem like a parable, but this is how they view it. And maybe that's how, I guess you could define it as a parable. It's not usually what we think of, though. So, but that's what he says. And, yeah, so he he says, and he said to them, then, are you, okay. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at, 17 through 19. Did I read that? I don't think I did. So he says parable. That's where I stopped. And then he says, and he said to them, then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile him, since it enters not his heart, but his stomach, and is expelled? Thus he declared all foods clean. Alright, so Jesus goes into the house for a private explanation with his disciples. Remember, he's talking to the Pharisees and scribes amongst this crowd of people. Then he addresses the whole crowd, everyone that's there. And then he goes into the house that's nearby. And then he brings his disciples to him and says, okay, let's talk. He's going to talk to them about what just happened outside. So first, Jesus expresses his exasperation with their lack of understanding. Right? Then are you also, because they ask him, what was that? What are you talking about? He says, then are you also without understanding? And you see Jesus doing this several times throughout the Gospels, where he just expresses like, how come you don't understand this? Like, you should understand this. This should be making sense to you. Why don't you get this? And so he is showing that again to them. And it should bring a little shame, because they should be working on these things. They should be beginning to understand what he's talking about, but they haven't gotten it yet. And so he's gonna enlighten them, right? He's gonna show, okay, here's what this means. Do you not see? Don't you see this? Apply it spiritually, please. And next he's going to explain this saying. Nothing outside the person is the cause of defilement, because it doesn't enter the heart, he says. But whatever comes out of the heart is what defiles. See, you can eat food, it goes into the stomach, and then is expelled out of the body into the sewer. That's it. So eating the food doesn't make you unclean. It's the heart that makes you unclean. That's why Mark here says, thus he declared all foods clean. We see that later on in the book of Acts with Peter, and he has the vision of all those, those animals that are on the sheet. And he says, take and eat. And Peter's like, no, I haven't eaten all that. And, I'm clean. And God's like, no, you can eat those. He's like, no. And then he says, finally, don't call what I've called clean unclean. And so the whole time, the unclean animals, as they were called, you can't eat those because it'll make me defiled. Like, that wasn't the point all along. It wasn't the fact that eating those things made you defiled. It was that your heart was defiled. And so you would want to go after things that God said, hey, don't do that. Right? And so it showed, like, these were unclean because, why? Because you're unclean. Your heart is unclean. If you had a clean heart, It's not going to defile you. You can eat whatever you want, and it wouldn't be defiling to you. Which is kind of blows away. Wait a minute, what? I thought this was all external stuff. Now you're talking about internal? And that's why he quoted Isaiah, right? Because he says, all these things, you do all these things. You do worship me. You're trying to worship me. You're saying all the things with your lips, but your heart is far from me. That's the problem. Their heart wasn't with God. Their heart was the defiled thing. They were already defiled. No matter what they ate or didn't eat, or washed their hands or didn't wash their hands, ultimately it didn't matter because they were still defiled before God because their heart was the problem. So the problem was within, not outside of them. That's the problem they had. That's the problem all people have. It's outside. That is not the problem. The outside is not the problem. It's not all these things around us. It's not the people. It's not the government. It's not video games. It's not the music you listen to. That's not what's defiling you. That's not what's causing you the problems. That's not what's leading you astray. That's not what is, causing your sin. It's your heart. That's the problem you have. Well, that's it for today. Come back next time and we'll continue on. We'll look at verses 20 through 23.